In 2027, South Africa will be celebrating its third year since the 2024 general elections that brought back Cyril Ramaphosa. I think it's about time that South Africans realized something and start having a conversation, almost like a campaign type of conversation amongst each other to dissolve the current government. I believe that we have the wrong people that are running South Africa. They are indecisive, they are sheepish, they are people that do not know exactly what they are doing. And this is dangerous on many levels for the people of South Africa. The government of national unity is in tatters. It is not sure whether it's going or coming. The things that South Africans want, it does not seem to know how to give the people of South Africa. But guess what? Threaten illegal foreigners. Suddenly, there's 600 million rand that is available to fight South Africans. Is this the type of government that you wanted? That it puts you as a second-class citizen over people that are here having broken the law, criminals. And they want South Africans to accept and normalize this criminality. What does it tell you about the government that we elected in 2024? That it is a criminal mind government. A government that cannot even put up a date to say, hey, listen, by this date, you gotta be gone out of South Africa. And be specific with nations that need to leave South Africa. Nations that have come here under the guise of, oh, there's a war in our country. South Africa bypassed the first safe country and accepted them into South Africa simply because the United Nations needs to be appeased. Not South Africans, the United Nations. The same United Nations that is supposed to respect the sovereignty of South Africa and the will of the people of South Africa. But instead, it folds its arm like this and it looks at the government this way and then says, I dare you to put South Africans first. And of course, this government, what does it do? It falls under that threat and accept Somalis. Okay, there was a war once upon a time in Somalia. From where I am seated and understand what's going on in Somalia, things have improved. So is in Zimbabwe. Their own foreign minister or whatever minister that was being interviewed at Newsroom Africa, if I'm not mistaken, he said the economy of Zimbabwe is picking up. And it needs the people of Zimbabwe coming back to Zimbabwe to build Zimbabwe. Malawi admits that it has at least 1 million of its citizens in South Africa, but they also throw a caveat at us by saying, oh, in Malawi, we also have Zulus. Okay, so if you have Zulus in Malawi, they are Malawians. They've been there for generations. I'm talking back in the 1700s type of situation. But no, to manipulate us and also undermine our sovereignty, they throw that at us. Oh, we also have Zulu people in Malawi. So what's the threat? You are going to deport them to South Africa? That's really sick because it goes to show how much disrespect they have for the government that you and I put in place. Yes, we might not have voted for the ANC because I didn't. We might not have voted for the DA. I didn't. We might not have voted for whatever other political parties that are part of the GNU. But nonetheless, the majority of people brought us this government. And it is the wrong government. You're probably wondering, Clancy, but how do we dissolve parliament? Good question. Do you see the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa? It has a section 50, subsection 1. And I will read it to you, what it says. And this is going to need you as the voter to convince your member of parliament. So what does section 50, subsection 1 reads, well, the headline is Dissolution of National Assembly Before Expiry of its Term. We know that the current government or the current parliament or National Assembly, its time expires in 2029. But this section of the Constitution before. So there are two requirements that must be met before this parliament is dissolved. You know, when you dissolve parliament, you actually also dissolve the cabinet. That means the president and his ministers. Let's read what section 50 subsection 1 says. I'm wearing the wrong reading glasses, but anyways, we'll go through it. Subsection 1 says the president must dissolve the National Assembly. The president must dissolve the National Assembly if A, the Assembly has adopted a resolution to dissolve with a supporting vote of a majority of its members. So it doesn't say 2/3 majority, it says a majority. Now, that translates to simple majority. What is simple majority? So you have 400 members of parliament, which includes the president. And a simple majority will be 50 plus 1. So that will be 201 members of parliament must support the dissolution of the National Assembly. Section 50, subsection B, 3 years have passed since the assembly was elected. So this assembly was elected in 2024. This is the second year of the National Assembly enjoying the victory they had in 2024. 2027 makes it 3 years, and it has to be exactly on the date of the elections that were declared that the current National Assembly was elected. So on that date makes 3 years. That's when you and I must intensify. And in fact, by the time we celebrate our third year with this GNU, the parliament must already be wrapping up. So that the president on the date, I think it was the 29th of May 2024 when we went to elections. So on the 29th of May 2027, the president of the Republic of South Africa must dissolve the National Assembly, therefore collapsing his cabinet too. Because we have the wrong people in that National Assembly. I've been saying this for the longest time. And what made me realize we have the wrong people in that parliament, remember when they wanted to increase VAT that was going to negatively affect poor of the poorest of this country? They did not care. That's when I realized that I think we have the wrong people this time around in place, and they were aggressive about it. Almost my man, to mention but a few. Aggressive about it. PA, Gayton McKenzie, adamant. So these are the things that we cannot forget as the people of South Africa. Right now, even the president of the republic is involved in a very big scandal that he is even taking the constitutional court decision about Phala Phala and impeachment process in parliament to court, to a high court, mind you. So it goes to show already that we are in trouble. When the head rots, the rest of the body rots. So now that the head is rotten, what makes us think that if Cyril Ramaphosa is impeached or he resigns or he's recalled by the ANC, we are going to get the second best? The second best doesn't exist, at least not from this crowd, let alone from Lutuli House. Maybe with the exception of the few, because if you look at leaders, and I'm talking true leaders, and I can only think, Vuyo Zungula, Probably but I don't think he will be just placed there and say, okay, you run the country so that we avoid the dissolution of parliament. They are not that visionary, those people in that parliament. So these are the two requirements that are needed. Number one, the president to dissolve parliament after taking a resolution by National Assembly to dissolve parliament. And then, secondly, in order for this to happen, the current National Assembly must be in its third year since the elections. And then we qualify. And I think if we can start having these conversations right now and also start speaking to our members of parliament, who, by the way, are going to stiffen their necks because you are talking about taking away their bread. Oh, sorry, their Louis Vuitton and Gucci's. That's what we'll be doing. So they will resist a little bit. So if we can do exactly what we are doing with March and March and putting pressure on government, we can put the same pressure on our members of parliament to take that resolution to dissolve parliament and call early elections. So once parliament is dissolved, South Africa has exactly 90 days to call new elections. And in the meantime, building up to that election, the Speaker of Parliament, because that National Assembly will still be functional until the early elections are held in 90 days. And this is where you and I, fellow South Africans, before getting to 2027, in our constitutional review submissions, we include, number one, the direct elections for our president, direct elections for our members of parliament, direct elections for our premiers, direct elections for our mayors, direct elections for our councillors. I believe we can directly elect independent candidates at local government level. However, for mayor, no, you're going to have a political party in order for your party to elect you to be number one on the IEC list, therefore automatically making you the mayor should your party win the local government elections. So this conversation needs to start. At the end of the day, it's you and I who are suffering under this lack of vision government that is running this country. They don't know whether they are going or coming. They can't make a simple but decisive decision on something that is so dangerous to South Africans and its sovereignty: illegal foreigners. The fact that we have illegal foreigners in this country, this responsibility should fall on the hands of the lawmakers in that parliament. How are you a lawmaker when the laws that you've made are being violated not by South Africans, but by people that are forcefully coming into the country, and you don't even twitch? The president is blasé. The president is sheepish, doesn't take decisive decisions. His counterparts are propagating against the country he is supposed to be protecting. When the president of the republic gets sworn on inauguration day, he swears on this. Well, it's the Bible. And then he promises to uphold, defend, protect, and enforce the Constitution of the Republic. But what he does is, he does the opposite because he needs to appease the United Nations. Not South Africans, the United Nations. And we must accept that. No, fellow South Africans, we cannot do that anymore. One thing about South Africans, we are learning every day. And the more we learn, the more we wake up. And the more we wake up, the more we begin to Siyayixebula, like we peel ourselves out of the shackles that have been holding us back from doing exactly what we are doing today. Those what's the word? The coconut in me is coming out. Those that are peeling off from the sentimentality of voting the ANC. Now they are saying, oh, no, ooh, and they've changed their minds. So you and I have a job to do going forward, is to speak to our members of parliament, table this motion. Let's begin to work on it. But first, you are the lawmakers. We need to change the electoral system from proportional representation to independent election or direct election of our public officers. I don't know, fellow South Africans, what are your thoughts? And I'm thinking this way because the solution is you and me. If you always wondered, but what do we do? This is what we do. We come together and then we make our voices heard. Any member of parliament from whatever political party they come from, and they don't listen to this call, on the 4th of November 26, show them what you made of. Don't vote for that party. Don't vote for any of these political parties. As long as there are no bills that are tabled to reform the Constitution, starting with the preamble, South Africa belongs to natural-born South Africans from 4th generation and above. We start there. And then we go to the electoral reform. And then we go to Chapter 9 institutions. We have a target there called the South African Human Rights Commission. How it should be appointed, who should be appointed, and how should it be dissolved the moment it betrays the constitutional rights of the people of South Africa. We need to do that. That is our job going forward. At some point, if our members of parliament are not listening to us, we take National Assembly to court. We have that right. But that right needs muscles, guys. That right needs muscles. And we found a muscle. And we are training this muscle. And in order for the muscle to be able to start lifting heavy weights, you and I need to support it with our 10 Rand, 20 Rand, 50 Rand, or whatever, by donating. Yeah, I'm talking about the South Africans for constitutional reform. I know, it's kind of like sounded like a broken record. The moment you start feeling that way, government wins. Government wins. You will still find yourself in 2029 with the same same electoral system, where you're going to be electing a party and they go and give us rubbish, like the current rubbish that does not even consider you as a South African. Touch an illegal foreigner, boom. Oh, what? South Africans didn't dare do that. And they agreed that 600 million Rand must be used to take away South African people's constitutional rights. The Minister of Police, Feroz Kachalia, had even the audacity to tap and violate customary laws and traditions of some South Africans because those sticks are a symbol. He's looking at the people that are marching, as some quack professor once said, half-naked vigilantes. The the Minister of Police cannot look at South Africans with the same eye as that quack professor. Cannot. Not in South Africa. Because as a South African, he would have recognized what that is. But no, because South Africa needs to look great on the international stage, don't carry any stick. Violating South Africans' customary laws, identity, symbolisms. And I would like to challenge the police minister, Farouz Kachalia, to visit and make friends with Section 16 of the Constitution, freedom of expression. Symbols that we carry or wear, they are our freedom of expression. 600 million rand against South Africans. Your tax money is going to be fighting South Africans for wanting what is rightfully theirs, their peace of mind, their South Africanness, their safety, and their security. Do you see why this government has to go? Do you see? Because now they have assumed a position of authoritarianism, not constitutional democracy. Police are going around telling people who are not supposed to be here, you have rights. We'll be here for you. The same courtesy is not shown to our communities by the South African police. There are children that died in Soweto. To this day, no justice. Nobody's speaking about that. All because people who are not supposed to be here sold them poisonous food. But no, South African police are not going to go into our communities to educate us about our rights against illegal foreigners. Do you see what I mean? This conversation needs to start. I know I'm nobody. I'm just a lowly voice. But if it needs to resonate, you would listen to what I'm saying. Because that is how we solve issues in a democracy, which is now quite threatened. I know some of us, how we feel about democracy, but it's still here though. And we need to use it to our advantage. I will leave this video right here. Let who has ears hear.